to Stewart Title and providing instructions to Beck Disaster Recovery Incorporated in accordance with therewith submitted by Commissioner Precinct 4.
Thank you, sir. Basically, with the discussion we had last week, I thought maybe one way to move forward would be to, with Jeff Ward stating in his letter that we were about halfway done with the buyout program in the process with drawing the money down from the state, that this might be a good time to take Beck's other recommendation and move forward and allow the title work to be done by Stewart Title, being that Beck had stated that they were qualified, and the other firm, as my understanding, is out of business at this point. But maybe we should also entertain maybe another title company, Chicago Title, and you know, I've stated for a long time maybe we should rotate that stuff through. So I guess what my motion will be to rotate between Stewart, Chicago, and Southland Title.
When you say rotate, you're talking about on item G. What do you mean rotate, Ken?
Well, when there's a you know, you kind of do like a wheel on the closing where one firm does one, then the next firm gets the other one, then the third firm gets the next one after that. That way we're spreading the business around to more businesses in the county. Not necessarily just, you know, cutting out Southland, but just putting them in the rotation also.
That's your motion. I'll second your motion for discussion purposes. Do want to kind of delve a little further into the entire discussion in regards to changing title companies in regards to, since John is here again this week, we had some discussion last week on how it came about the Southland Title became our title company for the buyout work, and I would like to maybe get into a discussion. John, we had some issues that last week, several issues that Commissioner Clark brought up last week regards to how Southland got to work, and I'd like to start with you, John, as to whether or not you had an opportunity to go back and maybe take a look and check out some of those things and to begin the discussion there.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the opportunity to respond to some of the questions that Commissioner Clark raised last week. I have researched the questions and issues and would like to provide answers. Commissioner Clark stated that several documents, namely concurrence letters for selection of a title company, an appraisal company, and a methodology for arriving at appraisal offers signed by the county judge, were made a part of the minutes of the March 18th, 2009 meeting after the fact. First, let me address the documents. Commissioner Clark stated the documents were not part of the backup materials provided to the court in advance of the meeting, and that is correct, but not unusual. It is common practice for departments to provide as much backup material as is available at the time that the judge's office prepares the agenda, and bring additional documents, including final markups of draft documents, to court on the morning of the meeting. Staff then makes an effort to ensure that these materials get to the county clerk for inclusion in the minutes. In the case of grant applications, sometimes this process of back and forth can take several weeks or longer, and Connie can certainly attest to the difficulty sometime in meeting deadlines and getting these documents together. Commissioners, as you know, staff has provided a weekly update on Ike recovery projects, FEMA issues, and grant applications since September of 2008. There's a flurry of activity and a mound of documents that become part of the backup for these weekly updates. There have been approximately 77 weekly updates since the meeting of March 18th, 2009. So naturally, it's going to be a little difficult for me to recall every detail of every meeting since then. I can't remember what I had for lunch yesterday. Mm-hmm. So to jog my memory, I went back and I watched the tape as well of that March 18th meeting, as Commissioner Clark did, and it is clear from from the tape, at least my viewing, that our professional grant consultant, Thad Lugamors with Beck Disaster Recovery, was in attendance and distributed the documents that were brought up by Commissioner Clark prior to the meeting. And I'd like to show quickly the portion of that meeting so you don't have to take my word for it, and help get this. You could maybe roll the beginning of the meeting, early part.
Oh, Lord.
Everyone knows when Commissioner Holmes enters a building.
My March Madness crew always. It's a lot of fun, man. I'm not going to game. I'll be watching. Talk to you.
Sweet 16, will you? I'll give it back to you.
Okay, approaching the Commissioner Lamb, that's Thad Lugamors with Beck Disaster. He's passing out documents that were entered into the record that day.
I met somebody from the Audubon Society, and I reinforced my...
Moving around Jim Guidry, there's the judge, there's Commissioner Holmes, and there's copies for Commissioner Clark.
This was just a little one-on-one. I was telling the guy that story. Yeah.
Okay, you bring the lights up.
Oh, good. Yeah. Yeah, but that's good, though. That'll come back and pay dividends for us. Lots of stories.
Okay.
John, are you going to go ahead and go to the 35.07 minute mark and between 35:07 and 42:05 and let these people see the whole discussion on March 18, 2009?
We can certainly do that, Commissioner.
Thank you.
We have time. As you can see from that, Commissioner Clark and Commissioner Doyle were not in attendance. And but we have to assume as staff members that when elected officials miss a meeting, that they have a process for picking up any materials that may be distributed in their absence. Later that morning, it occurred to me that our consultant may not have given a set of the documents to the county clerk, so she could add them to her signature packet for the judge to sign. So I asked the judge to sign a set just to be sure, which I later emailed to the clerk that afternoon around 3:30, something like that.